Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Heronbrook Farm Kitchen. It's been a while, it is fantastic to have you here. Today I'm going to talk about the perfect burger. We're going to make the bun, we're going to make the burger, it's going to be amazing. So exactly what makes a perfect burger? Well, you've got to start with the right burger, and we use 100% locally sourced meat, grass-fed, absolutely delicious, and we add a few other ingredients. And Jackie's just cooked these up. They look absolutely fantastic. The buns are really special. They're to a special recipe that we've adapted. We use them all the time. A burger bun needs to be quite robust. It can't fall apart in your hands. But it needs to be big because we like a big burger. I'm quite simple when it comes to burgers. A bit of ketchup, a bit of mustard, a bit of relish and a bit of gherkin. And of course, don't forget the cheese, Emmental, absolutely perfect. Okay, let's talk about the ingredients. So you need 450 grams of strong white flour, 35 grams of caster sugar, 8 grams of salt, normal sea salt, and 290 grams of tap water, and that's as it comes out of the tap. That can be quite cool. We're using a slightly different yeast this time. This is SAF Instant, which is an instant yeast, and it's very good. It's osmotolerant, so it's very good at working in a richer dough like a brioche, and this because it's got quite a lot of sugar in. And as you'll see here, 75 grams of butter. And then the final ingredient you're going to need, but not until much later on, is a good bowl full of sesame seeds to coat the buns at the end. So let's get on with getting those combined, and we're going to combine those directly into the bowl of the stand mixer. So we go straight in with the flour. That's the first thing to go in. And then the sugar, the salt, and the yeast. And once that's all in, just give it a good mix up with your spatula. And then go straight in with the water, straight on top. And we're going to take that over to the stand mixer and get mixing with the dough hook. So exactly as with all of the other recipes, we just let that turn slowly in the stand mixer for 3 or 4 minutes until the dough has come together, and then we can turn it up to a faster speed. So I've just given that a little scrape down and I've turned it up to a faster speed, and we'll let that knead for about 7 minutes before we put the butter in. Okay, the timer's just gone off, so we're going to go in with the butter. This is a lot of butter to go into not very much dough, which is kind of what makes it delicious. So you want to go in a little bit at a time, and it will take a long while for that to get incorporated. We're probably going to be kneading this for another 6 or 7 minutes. So get a little bit in, let it get incorporated. The first bit is always the most difficult bit, and then keep coming back and adding some more. And if it gets stuck on the side, it will get knocked off eventually. You just give it a little scrape with your scraper and just get it incorporated. As I say, it will take a long time, but it will all go in eventually, and it will make the burger buns absolutely delicious. So there we go, that's been mixing for about 6 minutes, adding a little bit of butter every minute or so, and you can see it's very soft now, very sticky, so all of that butter's been incorporated. So we'll get it turned off and get it turned out and into a bowl. So that's finished mixing. I've lightly oiled the bowl, and what I'm going to do now is just scrape down the dough hook, and this is very sticky, so I'm not going to turn it out onto the table. I'm just literally going to flop it into the bowl like that. Make sure that it's in a rough ball like that. Get the last bit off the dough hook. So that's it in the bowl, absolutely beautiful. I'm going to cover that with cling film and leave it to prove in this kitchen, quite a warm kitchen, for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. So I'll see you shortly. Okay, welcome back. As you can see, it's huge. So that special yeast and the sugar has absolutely turbocharged it. So get the cling film off. What we're going to do now is get a bit of flour down, and we're going to turn it out. Just grab a scraper, and then we just literally turn that out onto the surface like that. Scrape out the remaining bits. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shape it into a rough rectangle, using the scraper just to help lift it off the table. So there we go, absolutely beautiful and perfect. So what I'm going to do now is get the scale, and I've shaped it into a rectangle because I want to cut it into 8 pieces. The recipe I gave you earlier is enough to make 8 decent sized burger buns of about 100 grams each. So I'm going to use the scale to make sure each one is exactly the same size. So I'll get on with that now. So there we go, all the same size, and now I'm just going to shape them into a ball. Bit more flour, and away we go. Okay, so that's all done. So the next stage is to get them coated with sesame seeds and get them ready to go in the oven. Now what I like to do is to bake them in these little tiny trays. These are actually fruit tart trays, and they're made from a sort of glass reinforced plastic. What that does is when they bake, it gives you quite a nice rectangular bottom and then a dome on the top, which makes for a really nice burger bun. You don't need to use these, but this is what we do. So each one's going to go in one of those, and I've got my sesame seeds, and those need to be spread out on a tray or on a plate or something like that. It's quite a simple process. Get your little trays ready, or just stick them straight onto a baking tray. Using a scraper, pick one up in your hand, hold it away, give it a little squirt with your water bottle, and then just roll it in the sesame seeds, and you get a nice coating, and stick that on there. And then on with the next one. So there we go, all done. It's a little bit messy. I'm covered in sesame seeds. I'll go and wash my hands in a minute. What I'm going to do then is get all of these on a tray. There we go, and I'm just going to cover the tray with this linen cloth and leave it to proof for probably another hour, hour and a half, something like that, by which time they should have filled these little moulds. Okay, so these have been proving for about an hour and a half. Let's take a look. Get the cloth off. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, that magic yeast has really done its trick, and they've really puffed up. So let's get them in the oven. The oven's been preheating at 200 degrees for about 20 minutes. It's nice and hot, so let's get them in. So as soon as they go in, I'm going to give them a hit of steam and turn the oven down to 180. And then set the timer for 16 minutes, and we'll get them out and take a look. Okay, the time has just gone off, so let's get them out of the oven. Look at that, pretty impressive. So there you have it, 8 beautiful looking burger buns. If you're cooking them in these little moulds, it's good to just leave them for 2 or 3 minutes just to slightly cool down before you take them out of the moulds. If you're not, literally, you can just lift them off and put them on the cooling rack. In fact, that one has come out nicely already, so you can see what we're talking about there. That for me is the ultimate burger bun. So there we go, fresh from the oven, 8 awesome burger buns. What they really need now is a cracking burger to go in them. I'm going to get some help to do that. I'm going to ask Jackie to come in, and she's going to show you how we make the burgers here. These need to cool down probably for an hour and a half before they're at their best. They'll still be slightly warm then, and absolutely perfect. So I'm going to get Jackie in. She's going to make the burgers, and then we'll show you what the whole thing looks like put together.
Hi, so this is the burger bit of the family burger night. The first most important ingredient is the beef. Now we use a local beef, support British farming obviously, and pasture fed. You'll be amazed at the difference. So 500 grams or a pound of beef. Bit of Dijon mustard, good heaped tablespoon. For a bit of a nip, I always put some chili flakes in, a bit of a secret ingredient there. 1 fresh egg, bit odd, but I use about 10 cream crackers as well. It does make the burgers go a little bit further. And a green herb, I use parsley if I've got it, I haven't got it in today, basil is fine. So one of those two ideally. Salt and pepper, plenty of seasoning. So let's start combining these ingredients. I've got my food processor. The first thing that will go in there are my crackers. I'll add the basil. And now I'm going to blitz that up. So I have whisked up this. It doesn't need to be too fine a crumb. And I'm just going to add that to the meat. A good spoon of Dijon. I do like my mustard. This is a home-laid egg. Lovely coloured yolk. My salt, a little bit of chili flake, and finally in with a good grind of pepper. Right, let's get mixing. Very simple, this is where it gets messy. Just go in with your hands and combine everything. Give it a good scridge through your fingers. Perfect, that's done. I'm going to make 6 burgers from this, so I just, with my hands, divide it into 6 roughly equal sized lumps in the bowl. So you just take the balls and turn them into burger shapes. Now you can put them onto a greased plate to go and sit up in the fridge. I'm going to put them straight into the Arga tray. I'm going to cook them in the Arga, which is baking them really, I suppose. You can fry them in a frying pan on the top, whichever works best for you, wherever you would normally cook sausages, burgers. There we go, 6 burgers ready. I'll go and put them in the fridge for half an hour just to set up, and when we're ready, I'll put them in the Arga. So our Arga cooks at about 220 degrees. I'll put them in for about 5-6 minutes, turn them over, they'll go back in for another 4 minutes, and that should be done.
So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's our guide to making the perfect burger at home. They are absolutely delicious. We're going to tuck in and eat them now. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit subscribe, hit like, share it with your friends, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a great evening.